Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Melina's gonna give a message here, guys. Alright. The theme today is love, everyone. Love, love, love. So if you are someone, now there's celebrities killing themselves like crazy right now. There was I think it was the 18-year-old celeb, YouTuber sensation, YouTube sensation. She was so young and so cute, and she died. I don't know if it was suicide, but I'm thinking it would have been, because she was only 18. So she died. There's a couple of two Korean singers and performers that died, um, and they were through suicide. And it's just a prevalent rate. It's so high, and you think to yourself, obviously regular people commit suicide, which obviously that's very, very sad. Of course, anybody that commits suicide is very, very sad. So yeah, regardless whether you're a celebrity or not, suicide is prevalent. So it's just really sad to see, like a life wasted. And the thing is, we all feel that when a celebrity dies, it teaches us something, right? So, and I was watching Oprah recently actually, and she was talking about two young children that committed suicide, and it was very, very sad. You're just like, oh my goodness, they were so young. I think they were 8 years old or something, and you're just like, how can that be? And they were already started to be called FAG and gay, and they're young, right? So it happens. Everybody in schools get called that. I think if you're a man, you're going to be called that, whether you're in kindergarten or whether you're a grown up. Everybody uses that word freely to make fun of someone, and it's popular. It's very popular. So some people will just ignore it, or they don't like it, but they just get used to it or whatever, right? But these kids actually committed suicide. They were 8 years old, and you're just like, that is so sad. You're like, oh my goodness. It was on Oprah, and it's very recent. I think she did it 2 days ago or something, 3 days ago. So it was very recent, and you're just like, you know what, like. But there are some people that will always call people FAG, and they will call people gay, and they will use that, and they will call people, a tranny or whatever, right? They'll call people those things. And the thing is, we live in a society where we live in free speech, and people do use those words, whether we want them to stop or not. As people, as all people would maybe not like those words, but there are some people that just use them and they don't care. So instead of letting it bother you, you have to just sort of just say, and whether you identify with the word or not. Sometimes people get bothered by it, they don't even identify with the word. But if it bothers you, try not to, because people are, anybody can say it. Like, I mean, anybody could do it. So it's not like it has to be, like it's usually the prominent people in the world never use it. So I mean, like Drew Barrymore would never say fag to someone, FAG, or to someone, right? Or they would never use those terms, because they like people like that. They're very outgoing. They're very nice to people, right? So they're doing well. So they have no reason to use negative connotation towards someone's race or sexual orientation or anything. If you are experiencing it, just ignore it, because people will use that word freely, and some people use it in a positive sense, right? Like there are some people that might be gay, and they use the word FAG to someone, and they might not mean it that way. Like they might just be joking. I mean, for some people that's too much, but there are some people that use it, and they're, I mean, as comfortable as their friends think they are. I mean, I think it's a negative word, but they are very comfortable with it, so they don't mind it, and so they joke around with it, right? So some people don't mind it because it's been used so long as a negative word, so they just use it and say, you know what, I'm gay, so I'm going to celebrate by using words that were used to make me feel small, and using them to celebrate and joke around with, right? So, and some people don't really take life that seriously, so they just say it. Um, so remember, guys, if you're called that or whatever, please do not take it seriously. Every single male on earth is called FAG. Every single male on earth is called gay. Every single male on earth is called negative words, just regardless of whether you're a macho guy or jock guy like Marco, or whether you're like somebody that's overweight or whatever, right? You're going to be called that, right? because we live in a society where some people just say those words and they're not too concerned with how they say it or what they say. And obviously it'd be nice if no one ever used that word, but people use those words, and tranny as well. People will use the word tranny, and it's very, very negative to some people, to everybody, I think. But some people use it to empower themselves because they think I've been used. It's been called to me so many times negatively. I'm going to celebrate with it. But I mean, if you're not wanting that word to be called on you, and it's called on you, it's not nice, right? And you want it to stop, but remember, guys, there are some people that are not as nice as maybe you are, so they might not be willing to stop saying words like that, right? So instead of letting it bother you, just ignore it. Maybe you want to turn it around and celebrate with it. I don't know. Maybe that's at the point where you are at or something. I mean, personally, for me, I never say words like that. I never say anything negative about race. I never say anything negative about about sexual orientation, about transgenderism, or anything like that, because I'm a mature person, and mature people do not do that because we don't really want to. We're the people that are busy growing our lives and trying to do things for ourselves. We don't have time to be rude, and we don't have time to be like calling people out on things, right? We don't do that because we know we're too busy to spend all day chasing people and doing that. Some people are less fortunate and they don't have much. So maybe they're scared about being called that themselves, so they call everybody that, right? So I mean, really, at the end of the day, if someone's calling you that, maybe they're not necessarily a good quality. Well, they're obviously not a good quality person. If they're using it in terms of hatred, so just ignore it, guys. And remember, guys, it might be just a word that people use to celebrate, right? Or maybe they're not meaning it intentionally, or maybe they are very negative about it, but they change later, right? Some people, the most negative people about that kind of stuff are people that are actually going to become that later on, right? So don't let it bother you. Please do not let it bother you, guys. Melina says, do not let it bother you. All right. So, guys, remember, there's too many suicides lately. And there's so many deaths. Like there was a social media star who was on the road naked. So not yeah, social media star, yeah, YouTube sensation, on the road naked, and it was a murder, and you're just like, oh my God, like this is ridiculous. Um, she was gorgeous. I loved her. But yes, so sometimes we want, and like if that happened to anyone, obviously we'd be very, very upset. But to have it happen to a social media star, you're just like, oh my God, like, oh my God, that's so awful. Um, and so you just wonder, how can somebody have the audacity to do that? Anyway, guys, that's my Valentine's Day speech on love and acceptance. And, go further than acceptance. Strive to be a better person. Strive to do what you want to do. Strive to be the biggest person you can be, the biggest star you ever could imagine. All right, totally enjoyed. Bye, guys.